You won't believe what recently transpired inside the Sister Wives universe. After all the years of emotional turmoil and silent grudges, the tables are finally turning, but not as anyone had anticipated. Robyn Brown, the former Queen of Serenity and Kody's steadfast protector, is finally cracking under the pressure. The woman who positioned herself as the glue to the family could quite possibly be the very thing causing it to continue crumbling. And Kody? He's not merely losing control. He's altering history to keep himself safe. And the biggest surprise, that Robyn stands with him, even as it draws her further into the role of the silent villain. The drama that unfolds isn't simply about polygamy anymore. It's about loyalty, power, and the consequences of spending years hiding behind a well-manicured image. What role is Robyn really playing, and why are so many fans turning on her now? If you've been waiting for the moment things truly unravel, this is it. Dive in now and see what the cameras didn't show. Shockwaves are sweeping through the Sister Wives universe, this time out of the courtroom, not the cul-de-sac. Robyn Brown, who was once considered Kody's undisputed favorite, now finds herself on the receiving end of the unthinkable, a court mandate to leave her house and increasing financial woes. Meanwhile, Meri and Janelle, who've endured silently for years under the emotional mistreatment and chaotic financial circumstances, finally get justice on their side. What went on behind the scenes is now out in the open. Whispers began slowly, just rumors of illegal filing, nothing official. But longtime fans had a sense that something was about to happen. And when the case was finally made public, it wasn't merely large, it was seismic. Charges of financial manipulation, concealment of assets, and marital favoritism became legal strategy played out like something from a movie script. At the center of everything, Robyn? Court documents indicate she wasn't just the beneficiary of Kody's favoritism, she supposedly used it to be given sole access to a valuable Flagstaff home, purchased with joint family funds. Lawyers for Meri and Janelle had apparently requested repeatedly that a complete marital assets list be provided. But Robyn refused, citing emotional distress and privacy issues. The judge wasn't having it. In a stinging order, the court required Robyn to leave the house within 45 days or stand formal eviction. The judge left no doubt. Robyn had no right to keep a house bought in joint trust by their family, considering Kody defaulted on the conditions attaching to it. This is where things start falling apart seriously. Court documents continued to show Robyn's financial situation, and it wasn't good. With years of income from TLC, endorsement deals, and a life that appeared stable, Robyn is now reportedly drowning in debt. Property taxes remain unpaid. Income has ceased, and with the show halted and viewers deserting it, sponsorships are disappearing as well. In short, Robyn is wealthy in assets, but poor in cash and out of options. This wasn't merely a loss in court, it was an all-around unveiling of the life she so tirelessly crafted. As Robyn's world started to shatter, Meri and Janelle were working quietly behind the scenes. For years they were simply the background characters, obedient, relegated, overshadowed, but secretly they were constructing a case. And when they eventually came forward, it was with precision and receipts. Only days from the high-stakes court appearance, Meri's lawyers suddenly filed an unexpected financial audit that shook the courtroom. It indicated that sizable sums of money from family businesses, specifically a now-abandoned jewelry line, had been funneled into a private LLC belonging to Kody and Robyn. Then there was Janelle's relocation. Her attorneys charged that Robyn had used family credit to finance every kind of personal expense: house upgrades, private school fees, even discretionary cosmetic surgeries. You have to wonder, was this simply favoritism or fiscal betrayal? The evidence painted a very disturbing picture, not only of Robyn, but of how Kody could have facilitated or actively enabled this imbalance. Family resources might have been consolidated for years and then directed into one home, the home that always received more attention, more screen time, and more love. This wasn't just untidy, it was legally catastrophic. Meri and Janelle, the once minimized passive or timid women, now burst forth in the story as power players. Their silent strength, legal acuity, and refusal to back down made it plain they weren't merely arguing for what was rightfully theirs. They were arguing for every second they were pushed from the table. This is more than a legal victory. It's a reckoning. The aftermath of the courtroom decision continues to unravel. Robyn has only a matter of weeks left now to clear out and leave a house she once made her fortress. And with the finances of the family open to scrutiny, further revelations are still possible. If this courtroom battle had taught us anything, it's that those days of one wife quietly profiting while the rest remained mute, those are over. As Robyn held fast to her assets, the other two wives had been fighting simply to get at basic family resources. The court was not pleased. The judge did more than take away Robyn's grip on the house, but also gave Meri and Janelle temporary access to the rest of the family trust's money, subject to a complete forensic audit. That one action sparked the internet alone. It was a plot twist of the season, and perhaps the series. Twitter went wild with the hashtags #JusticeForJanelle and #MeriWins. Fans who had been on this emotional roller coaster from the beginning felt justified. Robyn, the wife, whom many perceived as the divider, was now the one who would suffer a fall from grace. From the remaining wife to perhaps the first to lose it all. Even more telling, the emotional fallout. Robyn left the courthouse visibly shaken, no longer the composed figure we've come to expect. And where was Cody? Nowhere near the courtroom, but he was spotted days later at a Flagstaff law office, reportedly trying to retain a new legal team to help Robyn appeal. Legal experts, though, say it's a long shot. The ruling was detailed, well-supported, and hard to overturn. And while Robyn hustled, Meri and Janelle stood firm. Janelle, the ever-pragmatic and reflective one, posted a sunrise picture on Instagram with the line, "New beginnings, no apologies." Short, understated, but powerful. Meri posted a shadowy smiling selfie and the phrase alignment. Finally, neither uttered a word about the ruling itself, but they didn't need to. The tone did it all. They're done surviving. They're rising. And Robyn. She's finally facing the same pressure the other women lived with for years. The cracks in her world are showing, and the question now isn't whether she can hold on. It's how long before everything falls apart. We're not just watching a show, we're witnessing a reckoning. As the court continues to move ahead with property settlements and money probes, one thing is certain: this isn't finished. Robyn may appeal, but such a move would bring even more of her finances under public scrutiny, and that's the exact thing her camp has worked to prevent. And what about Cody? He might not be an observer for long. If Meri and Janelle seek compensation for debts or abused family money, he might get dragged into this scandal as well. There's even rumor that TLC could make a switch. Taping is said to be suspended, and if season 19 does go forward, insiders claim it'll be vastly different from the allegedly happy sisterhood plot we used to see. The true tale now isn't one of plural marriage, it's one of power, money, and the price of silence. Robyn once had Cody's heart, and for a time it seemed she had the empire as well. But that empire is fracturing. And the women she once overshadowed, they simply took what she used to think she could never lose, a legal and emotional victory of a lifetime. Now that Cody has broken up with 3 of his wives, he's professing allegiance to the one he's still with, Robyn, and saying he needs to mend fences with his kids. For him, love is still multiplied, but it's more damage control than devotion these days. During the April 27th episode of the TLC show, Cody admitted he made a long drive to Utah to see some of the children he has with Christine and Janelle. It was an 8-hour drive that seemed to be the turning point, or at least one attempt at it. "I planned on visiting Christine's girls," Cody said. But then confessed, turned out there were other kids there. Kids of other moms. The pause was uncomfortable, but it suggested the emotional distance he's been attempting to overcome. Cody mentioned to Robyn during Valentine's Day supper that the trip was fine. Something in particular stood out: his interaction with his and Christine's daughter, Aspen. "Aspen and I had a really good chat," Cody said. "She said to me, 'What did I do? Why don't you like me?' Aspen's question struck a chord, and Cody for once did not sidestep. He reminded Robyn that Aspen's words had made him understand just how far the damage had penetrated. "I love her," he lied. "Always have, always will." They ended up discussing the possibility of forming a relationship that did not go through Christine or anyone else's filter. It worked, Kody claimed. It just made our relationship so much better, he explained. I told her it was out of a place of hurt, that I didn't feel like I could call on everyone. Whether or not that's genuine development or another control play remains to be determined. But the emotional repercussions of his actions are evident. The family's point of gravity has moved, and it might never be where it used to be. Aspen attempted to comfort her father that she never intended to make him feel unwanted, but Kody wasn't going to let go of it. What happened in my life made me feel unwanted, he explained to her. In Kody's opinion, his ex-wives didn't just leave him, they gradually pushed him out of his children's lives. I became alienated when the divorces occurred, he stated, referring to the deterioration of his marriages with Christine, Janelle, and subsequently Meri. And when they all fell apart, so did his relationships with several of his children: Logan, Madison, Hunter, the late Garrison, Gabriel, Savannah, Aspen, and her little siblings such as Mykelti, Peden, Gwendolyn, Isabel, and Truly. His reasoning? He believed his exes weren't protecting the privacy of the breakups. According to him, all his kids heard was "your dad's this, your dad's that," and since he wasn't physically present, those versions stuck. I've struggled with my kids ever since, he admitted. Now I'm trying to build a relationship where I'm no longer being filtered through their moms. But Christine pushed back, firmly, but gently. I don't trash talk Kody to the children, she explained on the show. I just want him to be on better terms with them. I've done all I can to support that. In fact, she told E! News last October that she encourages the kids to stay open. When he calls, answer. Accept him for where he's at. But deep down she knows it's on Kody to step up. His kids are some of the best people I've ever known, she said. If he doesn't show up, that's his loss. Because they're amazing. We're not just watching a family fracture, we're watching the consequences catch up. Christine hasn't been afraid to speak for herself, and neither have the other ex-sister wives. Take Meri for instance. She explained that Kody was giving her hope once again while relocating to Flagstaff. He said, "This will be a new beginning for us." Meri recalled during the September 15th premiere. He made me think he wanted to work on things. But that wasn't true. In Meri's account, Kody never spoke plainly. For years, she claims, he kept her dangling, talking one way in public and feeling very differently in private. Even Kody acknowledged there may have been conflicting messages. When I began to work on it, I asked myself, why am I doing this? He said. I wouldn't date her now. Meri's friends. They felt relieved when she eventually walked away. In January 2023, she finally ended the marriage. They were like, "It's about time," she joked, crying through her pain. But she said something even more telling. She thinks that Kody had been trying to kick her out for years, just so he wouldn't have to be the one who walked away. "If I leave, he's not the bad guy," she said. "He didn't leave me. I left." Meanwhile, that shared dream of Coyote Pep, it's slipping away too. Years after the family bought the 14-acre plot in Flagstaff, Kody confessed on the show that he's ready to give it up. They still haven't paid it off. $820,000 is hanging over them. "I'd rather sell it," he told Robyn. "Start over somewhere else." But Robyn wasn't ready to let go. "I can't talk about that," she said, quiet but firm. "That's not where I'm at." Kody drops the line that made jaws drop. During a one-on-one interview in June, Kody admitted something that shook fans. He never really loved Meri. For a man who once said, "Love should be multiplied, not subtracted," it sounded like subtraction had been the plan all along. He tried to explain it away, calling it a knee-jerk reaction, and blaming the way his exes spoke about him publicly. But still, for viewers who followed this emotional roller coaster from the beginning, it felt like the final cut. Cody Brown acknowledged it. He'd been stuck in a 3-year storm of resentment. That's why, on what was supposed to be an anniversary moment with Meri, he offhandedly told her he never actually loved her. In a confessional, Meri reflected on thinking, "Really? Then why did you ever propose?" She posed the question that's plagued many longtime viewers. "If you didn't love me, why choose me? Why pretend to for 32 years?" It wasn't so much what she said, it was the pain behind the words. Meri remembered how, As a young woman, she truly thought Kody chose her with love in his heart. Why choose someone just to convince yourself to love her for 32 years? She posed. Kody's reply. Cold and defensive. Oh, now Meri's got her little accusations. He scoffed in his own confessional. He admitted they never had a honeymoon phase. According to him, the marriage had been rocky from the start, and he knew it, because his other relationships were, in his words, better. He remained in the marriage, not because he loved her, but because he was afraid. In our religion, he clarified, you can't divorce a wife and remarry. It's prohibited. But what do you do if your religion binds you in a love you no longer believe in? And even though he professed to care about privacy, Kody still complained about his other wives in private. Janelle confronted it in an interview of her own. He leaks like a sieve, she said. He told me things about his other relationships that I knew he shouldn't have. Kody went on to claim that his marriage to Meri was unhappy from the start. They were young, he was 21, she was only 19. When they tied the knot both legally and spiritually. Years later, they legally parted ways in 2014, so Kody could adopt Robyn's children. But he claims there were things about Meri even then that he didn't get. There was baggage I didn't see, he claimed. And everything turned into a fight. He said he couldn't exist with that kind of anger all the time. But when questioned why he didn't get out, he referred to his religion once more. A man in plural marriage can't demand a divorce, he said. If you wish to remain faithful, you remain married, even if it hurts. Even today, he insists that the conflicting signals were genuine. I wasn't trying to keep her, he protested. But I didn't know how to let go. Nevertheless, he characterized Meri as mean, dull, and furious whenever they spent time together. I was trying to be curious about her, he reported. But I was just bored. To give Kody his due, he did admit one thing. He agreed that Meri was abandoned. But he emphasized I didn't walk away. Christine, Janelle, and Meri all chose to have me leave. The break comes to something more lasting. Meri requests a spiritual divorce, and Kody refuses to even admit it. Janelle and Christine never formally married Kody, so when they departed, no paperwork was required. But Meri, she insisted on an official spiritual divorce from her church later in 2022. She said, when we both married Kody, it was in our church. It wasn't legal. It was a covenant. And she didn't want to be spiritually sealed to a man who no longer wanted her. Let's just split this up totally, she said. But Kody refused. He didn't want to have anything to do with the church. The harm has already been done, he told her. We're not getting back together. But I don't want to be held accountable by these church leaders and their laws. Eventually he threw in the towel. I needed her to leave, he explained. It took her an eternity for her to finally understand it was over. And as the dust settled amongst Kody and his ex-wives, there was a new rift brewing, this time amongst the children. A friendly holiday group text in 2021, intended to coordinate a family gift swap, went south quickly. It all went bad, Christine explained. Kody, Robyn, and their kids were one group. The rest of us were another. Robyn said her older children felt emotionally unsafe and chose to back away. But it wasn't we don't want to see you again, she asserted. Robyn maintained it was not rejection. We never said, we don't want anything to do with you, she said. It just got messy. It felt emotionally unsafe. But harm had already been done. In the meantime, Gabriel had something that pulled at the heartstrings. The thing I want most, he told us on the October 13th show, is just to have a relationship with Robyn's kids again. He spoke fondly of Aurora being his favorite human in middle school, and how he used to call Dayton up in high school. But his voice cracked with sincerity. I'm not hopeful, not with Dad and Robyn. And that's where the heartache resides, between what was and what is most probably never going to be. Breaking up a family is never easy, but when one man is left behind by 3 wives, it's a whole different kind of pandemonium. And quite frankly, considering how Cody Brown has been treating his family throughout the years on Sister Wives, is it really that surprising? Lots of the fans felt it coming on. Cody's post-marriage treatment of Robyn told you everything. His emotional abandonment of Meri, Janelle, and Christine. His distancing from the rest of the children. It wasn't lack of communication. It was abandonment in slow motion. And if you can tell a man's character by anything, look at how he treats his ex-wives. Here's the kicker. Was Kody creating a family, or merely staging his departure? Meri, Janelle, and Christine have all been publicly misrepresented since they broke up with Kody. They've been labeled as stubborn or unfaithful. All the while, Kody's been rewriting history, placing blame for the collapse on them, saying they wouldn't submit to his authority, particularly after he used COVID guidelines to seclude himself in the name of health. But the dynamic is old news. Kody pushes, they quit, and he plays the shocked victim. And hanging in there with him through it all? Robyn, the girl once the new kid who took on the plural life with open eyes. Robyn's become a rather different woman over the seasons. She arrived believing strongly in the ideal of sisterhood and mutual marriage. But that idealism was short-lived. Her commitment to plural marriage proved largely theoretical. In reality, Robyn grounded herself repeatedly. And when things didn't go as she expected with the other wives, she didn't conform, she blamed. Her crying became a household ritual on the show, usually portrayed as the lump-in-the-throat peacemaker. But viewers started to notice something different. A passive manipulator shielding Kody's bad behaviors while distancing herself from responsibility. It's clear, Robyn didn't merely weather the storm, she might have created it. To many viewers, Robyn has become the unexpected villain of the story. Why? Because she stands by Kody while he rewrites the past, isolates his children, and dodges accountability. Her presence enables his behavior, offering sympathy where growth should be. And what about Kody? He wanted the best of both worlds. He yearned for the exclusivity of monogamy with Robyn, yet the advantages of a plural family. He left the other wives to deal with the parenting, homes to manage, and money to pull together, all while he pulled away. And if Robyn hadn't been there to testify on his behalf, to paint him as sorry and racked with remorse, Kody's account may have already fallen apart by now. The fact is, women in patriarchal marriages have been catering to their partner's immaturity for generations. And now, audiences are wondering who's really calling the shots in this so-called family. And now Robyn's become a role that many women in traditional relationships recognize all too well. Took on the role of being the protector of a man who won't change. She's not standing by Kody anymore. She's covering for him. Even if she won't say so out loud, it's obvious by defending Kody, she's becoming the bad guy right along with him. It doesn't take long to notice the double standard here. Kody spent decades saying he was never the patriarch, never the one in control. And yet, whenever his wives or children dared to push back, his answer was always the same: obey or leave. He demanded their loyalty, their silence, and most of all their respect, without earning any of them. That's not leadership, that's entitlement. One fact becomes impossible to overlook: Kody never relinquished power. He took it in disguise. And worse still is Robyn's complicity in this. She does not shout, does not directly harm, but by chiding Kody for his tone and yet approving of everything he says, she plays two sides. To the fans it comes across as manipulative, as if she desires the sympathy of a peacemaker and yet is promoting the same power play that is destroying this family. Even when she resists, it's half-hearted. She carries on the role of the submissive wife, allowing Kody to be the one to take the blows while covertly affirming the same narrative that has him in charge. And with that, she makes sure that Kody's behavior never actually has repercussions. And if Kody's conduct is the fire, then Robyn's soft nods and weeping are the fuel. And maybe that's what makes this episode of Sister Wives so difficult to watch and yet impossible to look away from. The bad guy isn't always the loudest voice in the room. Sometimes it's the one who is quiet, smiling from over there, softly manipulating the narrative so their hands remain clean. So now the question isn't merely, what's Kody doing? It's why is Robyn still enabling him to get away with it?